Hello, my dear Capricorns, rising sign, sun and moon Capricorns. I'm Michaela, and this is your astrological forecast for the upcoming month of April. Let's see the major cosmic events and how they will influence you. Now we start the month with the 3rd of April, and on this day, Mercury moves into Taurus. Of course, Mercury is the planet of communication, of plans, of small business usually, of travels, vehicles, infrastructure, and all sorts of electronic devices and gadgets. And Taurus for you is your 5th house, according to the whole sign system and your natal charts. Well, Mercury in the 5th house can mean a lot of communication with your children. Maybe they come to visit you. Also, a lot of conversations with your loved ones, mostly your romantic partner. Maybe as well, you will have some creative ideas, creative plans and projects, because 5th house is about creativity and our hobbies. Maybe your hobbies will become more mercurial for a bit more than a month here. It's important that at the end of the month, Mercury will go retrograde in the same 5th house of your natal chart. So there will be some reconsiderations, or maybe coming back to some old ideas, revisiting some old plans regarding love life, children, hobby, and even your business. For the ones who own your own enterprise, your own business, here Mercury can bring a lot of clients, communications, negotiations, promotions, possibly. Yes, you can launch some PR and marketing campaigns and researches. Now the 3rd of April itself is a bit more intense day, because by entering into Taurus, Mercury makes a square to Pluto in Aquarius in your 2nd house. So first of all, for all of us, I advise to be careful on the 3rd, on the roads, as well as with communication, not to be very pushy, not to allow others to manipulate us. Some secrets might come to the surface, some hidden information until this moment about your children or about your loved your romantic partner, at the same time, maybe you will be dedicated to some very intense form of creativity and art, maybe writing some poetry or painting all night long. And because Pluto is in your 2nd house, being in Aquarius, that means also that possibly there will be some conversations here about finances, about money that you want to invest in your business, your hobby, your creative project. Maybe your children ask you for some financial support. And also, maybe you will have some serious conversations with these people, that some of you is much more overprotective. For example, your children might share with you this information that you impose on them, your worldview, your values. There might be some jealousy, moments of jealousy and the desire to possess of your partner by you or by them towards you. So be careful here of this kind of intense confrontation, but you can direct this energy towards some kind of very intense, deep and influential art project, or you can also use this square. Even though it's a square, it's a challenging aspect, but still Pluto is the planet of big audience, of big popularity, of big money, big investments. So maybe indeed you will start now making some good income from your small business. Now, on the 6th of April, we have a full moon at 16 degrees Libra, which for you Capricorns falls in your 10th house, very important area of the natal chart and of your life. You will feel this full moon the most if your MC, the career point, happens to be around the 16th degree of Libra, give or take 2 degrees on each side. The full moons usually bring some culmination, some moment of clarity for you, realization, but being in the 10th house, this full moon might also bring you a moment of glory, of becoming influential, popular. Capricorns, you usually like this, even though your ruler is Saturn and you tend to be rather modest person, but at the same time, we all know, very hardworking, looking for achievements, looking for social status and respect. And here, this full moon, imagine it like a huge limelight, like a projector that shines the light onto you in front of an audience or your team, colleagues, your managers as well. Maybe there will be some change in the management. You might, of course, occupy some higher position, get some increase in payment. Again, we can speak about launching your own business or closing it. Maybe you decide to go on pension, retire, go to a maternity leave. 10th house is also about our status. Civil status, marriage status, family status, regarding where we live, how we live, and so on. Now, if you want even more specifics here, think about every full moon is a culmination of a process that have started, initiated, maybe was thought about during the new moon in the same sign, the last new moon 6 months ago, or the pre-last new moon in the same sign 1.5 years ago. So I'll give you the dates with the new moons in Libra. The closest ones were on the 6th of October 2021 and on the 25th of September 2022. So if you have been keeping this new moon diaries, writing down your plans, your wishes, your goals, and it's nice, like past 6 months or 1.5 years later, to open this diary, see the particular new moon in the same area of life of your natal chart, and check if something you have achieved, if some ideas changed, if you maybe don't want and don't desire anymore something from this list. Congratulate you and celebrate for your achievements. Yes, full moon in the 10th house might very well bring some opportunities to be proud of yourself and to celebrate your worldly success and achievements. But also you might decide that something is irrelevant anymore from your previous goals. If you have new life purpose and mission, you might clearly understand now what it is and direct your efforts towards it. On the same day, very interestingly, Mercury conjuncts the karmic lunar node, the North Node, because we have two of them opposite each other. But North Node is the one that talks about the progress, the future, the development, something new, something fresh, maybe even something unexpected. It is still in your 5th house, right? So that there might be news about pregnancies, about children, work with children, children in your life. There might be engagement, for example, like a verbal proposal, and news that your status with your loved one upgrades. Of course, also maybe a separation moment as well, if you came to the conclusion that this is not a relationship that satisfies you and makes you happy. As well might be some fruitful negotiations or some new ideas about your hobby or business. At the same time, this full moon opposes two planets, well, one planet and one asteroid in Aries, that is Jupiter, the big benefactor, the big benefic, that's great news, and Chiron. So they are located now in your 4th house. Not only that this full moon illuminates your status, but maybe on the background you will discover that your career success, your direction in life, where to, what should I do with my life altogether, comes from your family, comes from your childhood experience, comes from your ancestor patterns and cultural background. All of this is 4th house. 4th house is your inner emotional world, your sense of security and stability, how you are at home environment, when you are calm, when you are safe, or when you are alone. And because Chiron is here, and Chiron is the wounded healer, so this asteroid in the 4th house, illuminated by this full moon in the status area, talks about some emotional, possibly traumas or issues, pains from past, from childhood, maybe going through generations in your family that have to be addressed, whether it's about self-esteem, self-love, achievements, what is important for you in this world, in this life, and so on. So perfect time to as well heal some childhood traumas. Forgive to the family and let go of emotional fears of success, of moving forward, of taking responsibility, of becoming a director or going freelancing or establishing your own family. Of course, it's very much connected with your inner world. and family patterns. You might receive support. Of course, here you might receive support by your family, and because Jupiter is involved, it can mean a process of relocation, a process of expanding your place of living, a process of maybe meeting foreigners as roommates, or maybe relocate because of work, definitely. And establishing a family, possibly this is how your status changes. News about expecting children, for instance. Now, this full moon is special also because it opens the so-called eclipse corridor or eclipse season, because we are entering into the territory of 2 spring eclipses this year. First one in April, second one in May. I will in a moment mention everything about the April eclipse, but you should know that the activation of this cosmic and fated energies and events starts not exactly on the day of the eclipse, but at the very least 2 weeks before it happens. Then we have another 2 weeks between the 2 eclipses, and then 2 weeks after the second eclipse, the things calm down. This turmoil of destiny, let's say. So overall, we will be in this eclipse season, the spring one this year, from 6th of April till the 19th of May. I mention it because my recommendation usually is the same for this eclipse periods, about a month and a half, right? Is to be calm, is to be twice more observant, more aware of what's going on around you and with you. Definitely, if you have been following my videos, my channel, or as a client to my private astrological consultations, you know that I do believe, of course, in personal willpower and the ability of people to make decisions exactly about what to do with the cosmic influences, with the information that we astrologers read from the outer space, right, according to the hermetic laws, as within, as without, so within, and as above, so below. So of course we are influenced, I believe, by the energies of the universe, which are connected to the archetypes in our minds, in our subconscious most of all. But that's why we do the forecast, that's why we do this analysis. I basically say that I do natal chart analysis and astrological forecasts because it's about just being aware, like about the weather forecast. No one tells you not to go out or to go on holidays. It's up to you and your current life conditions and circumstances if you can do it or not. So you see, it's up to you, you can choose. But at the same time, I believe that we have souls, or rather our souls possess bodies in this incarnation, and they chose very well specifically when and where to be born, up to the minute of birth. So then we can read natal charts to see your soul's mission and purpose in this life, why and whether the soul wanted to be born in this particular country, society, family, parents, lineage. Yes, like what are the specific lessons that the soul has to pass here on earth, what it has to learn. Some lessons are a bit more difficult, of course. Sometimes our ego wants to escape them, to take a detour somehow. And exactly in those eclipse periods, destiny steps in a bit more than the personal willpower. So there is a chance to return you back, guide you back to your soul mission, whether you feel it, you know it, or you're not aware about it at all. And you see, eclipses are not something mega rare. We have every year eclipses from 3 to 7. Of course, the years with 6, 7 eclipses, like it was 2020, are definitely much more intense collectively and personally. But otherwise, not something crazy happens every single eclipse. It very much depends how it triggers your natal chart, which I believe it's also meant to be, and it's predestined how the transit planets will eventually activate your natal chart, whether now or 60 years later. You know, we can astrologers can check it and so on. But yes, some eclipses are here exactly to remind you of your soul purpose here, and of the lessons and the path that the soul initially wanted to go through by incarnating right here in your body. So that's why I don't recommend people doing too sharp, drastic, impulsive, emotional decisions around eclipses, because yes, we might feel more emotional and more unrested and unease around eclipses. Even animals feel them usually. So it's rather better to listen, to observe, because sometimes important events happen, you know, this 1 month and a half around the eclipse, or some seeds might be just planted now. For example, you meet someone, you hear some idea, some story about a country, about a job, a profession, you come to some conclusions, yes, and then give it about 6 months to grow, to develop, and to manifest. This might be the case as well. And again, it will be very interesting if you are aware enough to be attuned of what's going on with you and around you, these circumstances that are out of your control, wherever happens now or starts happening, or maybe finishes, some cycle and process is finally ending for you, whether more abruptly, more stressfully, or in a more pleasant and peaceful manner, really. It's all for the best. Remember that around eclipses, it's really the destiny and the faith and the karma. The karma is not something scary either, because it's just here to show us the cause of some action and cause and effect, right? So the action and the effect our actions have on earth here. It's just that we don't always notice what we do. We're not so aware daily on what we do. But then anyways, the reply from the universe eventually comes exactly as reaping what you sow. And the reaping part usually comes around eclipses. So before I go into this eclipse of April, let me mention that on the 11th of April, Venus goes into Gemini, thus for you entering into your 6th house. 6th house is about work, it's about health, it's about duties and responsibilities, about our daily routine, regime, and what we have to do, how we serve society, how we work out and burn our karma. So with Venus here, it's a good news, because everything will be much more pleasant of what I just mentioned. You might meet some love at work, for example, or at least a very good cooperation and compromises, consensuses with your colleagues. You might as well show your professional skills and ask for bigger payment, for example. You might take care of your health, of your beauty, go to some spa, yoga, you know, to stretch, to even pamper yourself a little bit. At the same time, be careful, because Venus represents sweets, and passing through the 6th house of health, it can make you crave something rather unhealthy. So again, think about also how grateful your body will be if you just feed it with some delicious, but at the same time more healthy nutrients. You might meet some very good and positive doctors who will be willing to listen to you and to help you. Right, and then on the 20th, we have this solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries. Not only that solar eclipse is a very powerful new moon, but here it is an eclipse because the luminaries are located very near to the karmic node of the moon, the north node, the one that talks about the progress and the future, the one that helps us make the jump into the future, the quantum leap oftentimes. And it happens in your 4th house according to the whole sign system. Yes, on my personal consultations, I work with Placidus, but here to make it a bit more general, we use the whole sign in these videos. So, of course, powerful new beginnings, some changes, some shifts, some new energy comes into your home and family. Now, again, because this eclipse conjuncts Jupiter, it means something good, great, big, luxurious. So hopefully you're buying yourself some new big car or new big property, or you're moving abroad, or you're dealing with the state about documents, or maybe you receive inheritance. Whatever you're doing, repairments, relocation, planning a family, children, it's going to be really serious and really long term. You'll have to invest efforts, going possibly slowly but surely, because the eclipse sextiles Saturn, which is your ruler. And you know, Saturn, usually it's about giving the time for the things, being very serious, determined, you know, even if it's challenging, even if it's hard, you know your goal, and you slowly but surely are achieving it. So this is how you should act this time as well. Remember, again, maybe now it's just the beginning of some process about home, family, something new in the life of your parents, mostly mom. I must say that this eclipse might be as well challenging and intense because it squares Pluto. Of course, a square is a challenging aspect. You see Pluto participates a couple of times this month in other astrological combinations, bringing at the same time a bit of fear, anxiety possibly, because Pluto is very subconscious and a psychological planet. Challenges you have to overcome in your own beliefs, maybe in your value system, because again, you see Pluto is in your second house. By the way, if you want to listen more about such important historical transits like Pluto through Aquarius for the next 20 years, what does it mean for you, or the transit of Saturn through Pisces, or overall about all the eclipses this year, and you still haven't checked my yearly forecasts, then in my channel you can find the video Capricorn 2023. It's more than 1 hour long, and it gives, I think, a very good in-depth overview of all this year for you. But yes, Pluto in the second house means that either you will be reshaping, transforming. Pluto is about transformation of your value system, your priorities in life. Maybe until now it was work, now it will become your family and your home. Until now maybe it was the money and the business, and now you decide that your inner emotional world and satisfying your emotional needs is more important here than fighting in the corporate world. Maybe the opposite, you will do a family business or a business with property. Yes, second house is income and also spending. So here with the square, as if like, yeah, you wouldn't like it so much, maybe there will be a resistance, maybe you want to take a loan from the bank, but you know, there is a paperwork, documents, proving something, or you worked so hard many years and now you have to invest this money into taking care of your, I don't know, grandparents, or repairing your home, or, you know, renovating, expanding because you're expecting a child, or you have to double the work now in order to provide for your family. But remember that every astrological aspect can give a positive result at the end, like a positive outcome. Specifically with squares, you have to adjust, you have to act, you have to be bold, brave, courageous, dedicated, focused. You have to overcome this inner, you know, maybe wrong family models. Maybe you have to separate from your family in order to go abroad, or invest indeed, maybe sell a emotionally attached house, you know. But it's time to move on. Yeah, this eclipse is a solar eclipse with the north node. It's time to move on. Maybe you have to grow up. You're not anymore the small scared child. You don't anymore depend on your parents or grandparents. You don't anymore owe them maybe anything either. You don't blame them for anything. You establish your own goals and a value system. Very powerful eclipse, really, I think, for you. Involving finances and property. Yeah, we can say so. On the same day, then a couple of hours after the eclipse, the sun moves into Taurus, as well joining the party in your 5th house, illuminating the topic of love, romance, children, pleasure, hobby, fun, sports, and business as well. For some of you, 5th house is rather your own baby business. Then on the 21st, the next day, Mercury stations to go retrograde in your 5th house again. Mercury will be retrograde this time, you see, from the 21st of April till the 14th of May. During this time, you can meet some lovers from the past, restart some important conversations with your child, or, start planning a baby. You might have time to review, readjust your approach to your business, maybe plan and prepare some better marketing strategies, exhibitions, sales, and so on. It's not a good time to launch something new, some new campaign, start new hobby, start selling your, for instance, paintings or cakes, whatever you're producing. It's rather the research time, the preparation, the finishing something old from the past, letting go, releasing maybe some past emotional stories and love stories. 21st is rather an intense day. You see, so close to the eclipse. So once again, don't do any rash decisions. Mercury is conjunct Uranus, and Uranus is the planet who wants to explode, who wants to change things right now, here, immediately. So people might feel the need to blur everything, say everything at once, quit, cut ties and burn bridges. Technology might fail us this day. Be careful with your computers, internet, tablets, and so on. There might be this nervousness in the air, so it's good to kind of, drink magnesium, go to some breathing practices, go to the nature, calm down yourself as the way you can. But with Mercury in Taurus is more about grounding, nature, maybe some good food. And so instead of just verbally exploding, there might be chaos on the road, so be careful with vehicles when you're driving, when you're traveling. Take your time, prepare your documents and so on. You might be traveling to some place with your children, with your loved one, which you have visited already, while Mercury is retrograde. Okay, dear Capricorn, so this is how April looks like for you. I wish you a positive and productive, and at the end of the day, useful and pleasant month. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Aquarius, rising, sun, and moon Aquariuses. I am Michaela, and this is your astrological forecast for the month of April. Let's check the most important, in my view, astrological events and how they will influence you. So we start the month on the 3rd of April with the transit of Mercury, the planet of communication, of business, of transportation and tools, into Taurus, which, according to the whole sign system, which I use for my general forecasts here, while in private consultation I work with Placidus. So for you, Taurus, is your 4th house. Important area of life, and mind you, Mercury will stay here now longer than usually because at the end of the month he goes retrograde in Taurus. But let's go by day. So, okay, Mercury in Taurus at first means a lot of negotiations, communication with family members, mostly parents, maybe visiting some relatives, your old home city. Maybe there will be some gatherings, some announcements. It might be related to selling or buying property, renting, doing some maybe even business with real estate, looking and gathering, collecting documents about property, about ancestry. Well, the 3rd of April itself, it's a bit more intense day because as Mercury ingresses in Taurus at 0 degrees, he makes a square, a challenging aspect with Pluto at 0 degrees in your sign. This is such an important transit of Pluto through Aquarius. If you have not yet seen my yearly videos for 2023 for each sign, please find the video called Aquarius 2023. It's more than 1 hour long, and I talk in depth about this historical transit of Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years, about Saturn in Pisces as well, all the eclipses this year, and so on. But here we are focused on April specifically. So a square, of course, there is some intensity, some challenge coming from Pluto, which is your own internal fears. Pluto is a very psychological planet, so it talks about some grudges, pain, fears you see coming from a family. So maybe all these family conversations and talks might make you realize something, like how, let's say, your parents, grandparents, your home country, ancestry influenced your decision making, your attitude towards yourself and others and the world, your ambitions, your ideas. Are they based on some kind of misconceptions? Maybe now it's a good time to talk either with a therapist, a psychologist, or with your family and come to some truth, because indeed Pluto is the planet of secrets, but also, you know, because usually when we keep secrets, we are then ashamed about them, we are worried, so they bring us trouble. And maybe at the end of the day, Pluto himself likes to liberate you and himself from all those fears and anger, secrets, being, shame about something. And so now maybe some family, some information about family and the past history, property can come out to the surface, through which, by the way, you can transform in a very positive way, open up more, talk more, share more, speak about yourself and your needs and desires more, because fourth house is also your internal private space. It's your emotional life. It's who you are in a comfortable situation when you're alone or with the very close people. So it's a good time to heal yourself through talking, through writing. Maybe you will be writing therapeutic letters dedicated to someone who offended you in the past, who traumatized you. If there was also some violence or some control issues, power struggles, and now you can just take it out from yourself through writing it down. Then you can cut this letter, you can burn it safely and carefully, of course. But just feel a relief from all of this. Be careful not to be controlled or manipulated by family members. And of course, keep your boundaries decently, but don't also attack or manipulate others at home. Now on the 6th of April, we have a full moon at 16 degrees of Libra, and this is your 9th house. So this full moon can bring some culmination in study processes, educational activities, so you can have exams, graduate, publish your thesis, a book or an article, be on a spotlight, become popular through participation in some ceremony, take some awards, be on some conference, seminar. 9th house talks about international popularity. Oftentimes you might start or finish some travel journey, cooperation with foreigners, a law court. A juridical procedure might here become much more clear. Who is winning? What's going on? Hiring the right lawyers. The decision of the judge might come out. You see, it can be related to property, to inheritance. Now, I'll give you more hint about possible manifestation of this full moon. You see, it's a peak process of truth, of culmination, of knowledge, of endings as well, which might be related to some processes that have started in your life 6 months ago or 1.5 years ago, when there was a new moon in the same sign, so in the same area of your life. Let me tell you the dates. We had new moons in Libra last 2 times. on the 6th of October 2021 and then on the 25th of September 2022. Were you then planning some course, education, trip, travel, emigration, court case, negotiation with the government institutions, meeting some teacher possibly? Well, now you can have a peak point, culmination point in all those topics. So if you keep a diary of new moon wishes, usually writing up to 10 wishes, goals, dreams around each new moon to related topics according to your natal chart, and then it's very interesting to check it out 1.5 years or even 6 months later and see what has come to reality, what has manifested, what you have achieved. Well, congratulate yourself and celebrate in this case. Or maybe some things are changing and are not your priority anymore. So you just decide that anyways, you scratch them out because you don't need those things anymore in your life. Now, this full moon is opposite Jupiter, which is a great news because Jupiter is the planet of faith, of luck, of good fortune, of popularity, of being inspirational to others. So really through what you produce intellectually or you write about, or any sort of international business or activities can be here expanded even more, reach more people, more bigger audience. I think you really can become very knowledgeable or very popular and successful. At the same time, there in Aries is as well Chiron, the asteroid Chiron, called as well the wounded healer. So maybe this full moon will address also some more psychological topics, like about, do you trust your own mind and opinions? Are you proud of your intellectual qualities, your studies? Maybe you have this psychological complexes that you don't have enough certificates, degrees, diplomas, that you were not listened to in school, in university. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe you were said to, be quiet and not to express your visions and opinions. So Chiron here really might talk about some fears, insecurities, about language, about travels. Maybe you're afraid of airplanes or buses, trains, driving, or you're insecure in your way of expressing your ideas and thoughts. So here again, you might need to deal with those issues if you want to achieve your success, or you might meet some experts, teachers, mentors, gurus, inspirational figures, authors, healers that can help you with those topics. Also, this full moon, look at that, on the 6th of April as well, Mercury conjuncts the North Node in your 4th house. So something new definitely comes up about whom you live with, where you live, how you live. North Node, it's a karmic point on the sky, which is about the future, development, growth, expansion. It's exciting. Sometimes it's a bit scary. But here with a combination with Mercury, it means that there will be some news in the family, new documents, new members of the family, new locations. Yeah, so let's see what this full moon brings. And also it's important because it opens the spring eclipse season. So every year we have eclipses from 3 to 7. So eclipses are not something scary or extremely unique, but in my opinion, the period around the eclipses, and give it like 2 weeks before the eclipse, 2 weeks after the eclipse, but they usually come in a set. So this spring, for example, we'll have one eclipse in April that we will discuss in a moment, and one in May. So that's already 2 lunations separated by 2 weeks in between them. But I give it the season of eclipse. It starts 2 weeks before the first eclipse and it ends 2 weeks after the second eclipse. So overall, in this case, from 6th of April till the 19th of May. Why do I mention this period? Because I I imply us all to be even more aware, even more grounded, even more receptive, attuned, listening, observing, a bit more of this yin energy, have it more now dominant within us, less emotional rush decisions, because energy will be quiet, chaotic. There is this turmoil of fate, destiny, events. Something has to end, something else can begin, but it's not up to our own free will this time to do it. I mean, you can do it, of course. You can burn bridges, cut ties, and so on. But the problem is that later, if you decide that it was a bit too rushed and impulsive and unnecessary, it will be triple the hard to, very hard to basically readjust what you have done around eclipses. On the other hand, really around eclipses, I think we are reminded one way or another about our soul mission, about the purpose that each of us has chosen as a soul when the soul was incarnating in this body, in this family, in this country, society, period of time of history, and so on. It's a deep topic, I know, but basically, if you have been following my videos so far, and if you have been my client of astrology, you know that I do believe in personal willpower. All these forecasts we do, all this information is like the weather forecast. The weatherman doesn't tell you to go out or not to go out, but those are advices of what we can possibly expect from the outer space. The hermetic principles, as without, so within, and as above, so below. So all these planetary influences, they're so well connected to our subconscious mind, to our emotions and physical reality as well, that it's a wise thing to be aware of their influences and to think how you will act and react upon those events. Some of them are challenges, some of them are opportunities, right? So around eclipses is more like destinies operating. So whatever is happening here, circumstances that are out of your control, whether it's positive or maybe seen initially as not so, as negative, like losing job or having to quit your rented apartment because you get this letter from the landlord, or your spouse files for divorce, right? It's not you, it doesn't depend on you. So then you must say, okay, destiny, thank you, which it means that it was meant to be this way. So let's see how it will develop in the future, because the events might happen around the eclipse itself or within this season or corridor of eclipses, right? This 1 month and a half. Or if you're aware enough, you might notice some news, some ideas, some insights, meeting people, which in the future will grow and develop into something much more significant. So give it a time. Around 6 months are oftentimes needed for the effects of the eclipse to fully develop, grow, and manifest in our lives. But you see, forewarned, forearmed again, and calmed down, as one client says, that my forecasts are just explaining the causes and the effects which we can expect in the future, right? So nothing actually too supernatural here, to be honest. So before I come to the first eclipse in April, let me tell you that on the 11th of April, Venus goes into Gemini, which for you is your 5th house. This is so lovely because 5th house is about fun, joy, love, romantic relationships, children in your life. And Venus herself is a benefic, beautiful planet, so she can bring here even more desire for compromises, for consensus, negotiations, romantic experiences with the one you chosen and you love, or with your children. As well, Venus is the planet of money, so you can invest now money into your hobby, pleasurable activities, also business. 5th house is your own business, your enterprise. And Venus here can also here bring you money from those things. Maybe you'll start selling your pieces of work or make an exhibition. On the same day, the 11th of April, there is a positive aspect, a trine between Venus entering into your 5th house and Pluto in your 1st house. You see, every time now Pluto will be involved into something, it will very much resonate with you personally. And here it's going to be a beautiful combination of a day full of joy, of possibilities maybe to meet some new love in your life, of think about children or spend good quality, lovely time with your kids, or doing something you really, really enjoy doing. And then on the 20th, we have the first eclipse for the year, the solar eclipse at 29 degrees Aries. A solar eclipse is a very powerful new moon. You see, already talking about new beginnings. Besides, it is an eclipse because the luminaries are located next to the north node of the moon, the karmic node we mentioned about on the 6th of April. So here it's a double whammy about starting something new. According to the whole sign system, 29 degree of Aries falls into your 3rd house. So it might be really some new small business. 3rd house is some crafts we do, or some blogging, writing, teaching, courses. You might start some new educational process, trainings, gaining new knowledge, new skill, acquiring a vehicle, traveling maybe. Yeah, it can be a beginning of some regular work trips, business trips, or maybe you meet someone from a next door city or town, and you will be going more often to see these people, establishing new contacts, friendships. 3rd house is very social area. It's about teammates, colleagues, neighbors, so new environment overall. You might change the neighborhood at the very least. Something new might happen in the life of your sibling as well, possibly. Great time to start learning languages, become more technically savvy, learning some computer skills. Whatever you're doing now, it will require patience, constant efforts, but at the same time, the manifestation will be then as well very serious, very respectable, it can bring you high social status, very sustainable and long-lasting results, because this lunation, this eclipse, sextiles Saturn, the planet of longevity, and sextile is a positive aspect of opportunities, of creating something long-lasting. And also, this eclipse conjuncts Jupiter. So if we talk about your business, blog, course, it can grow and expand and attract more clients, more people. So popularity, success. You might become demanded specialist, famous teacher, travel abroad, definitely, doing some foreign business possibly as well, meeting your future spouse for women, planning a baby. Something big and international can come here with Jupiter as well, some big vehicle possibly. And then this eclipse also has a challenging aspect, again, from Pluto in your 1st house. Remember, square means that you have to overcome initially some personal fears, anxiety, possibly that you don't trust yourself or others, negative thinking. Here, 3rd house is how we think, how we talk, how we express ourselves, how we write. So with Pluto in the 1st, either you might tend to be now, for some reason, more controlling, more manipulative, trying to impose your will on others, on colleagues, for example, because now you do have this huge power within you. Pluto can make miracles because it's such a dedicated planet, huge focus, So I suggest you focusing on the positive thinking. Really consciously choose the mentors, the writers, the teachers, the bloggers who inspire you rather than frighten you or put you down. start reading books about personal development, about manifestation, about the law of attraction, about successful people and business. Any person who inspires you, politician, businessman, actor, actress, singer, now you can really express such a willpower from yourself that you can achieve literally anything you want if you set your mind on it, right, Aquarius? So in this case, it's just about overcoming your traumas about language, about maybe mingling with people, about online activities, business, and so on. And you can become very influential through words, through articles, through courses. Maybe you will be asked to teach something. And you have these big ambitions. Pluto, come on, Pluto is big ambitions now in your first house. You want to succeed, you want to be important, and you want to kind of be respected and powerful, rich. Why not? Pluto is also the planet of big resources and finances. It's just here not to step out of this boundaries of well intentions, and not to become too selfish, too destructive towards yourself or others. And in this case, it is about the mind and the words. But use this power to create something really impactful, possibly a website, a media, a blog, a campaign. You can launch now media campaign to sell something, and again, it can bring you a big audience, really. Right, and then the same day, a couple of hours later, Sun moves into Taurus, joining the other energies and planets in your fourth house. So wherever the Sun is, there is our attention. There you can shine. The spotlight basically is clearly in your fourth house of home, family, place of living, papers of residency. And then on the next day, 21st of April, you see, first of all, it's the very hot spot of energies because it's just one day after the eclipse. Mercury, the planet of common sense and good reasoning and self-expression and planning ideas, goes retrograde. So from the 21st of April till the 14th of May, when Mercury is retrograde, is not the time to do the new movement. Yes, if you have been planning it for some long time, if you have tried once, second time, wow, now you have another chance indeed to repair your place of living, to find the proper workers, maybe call the people you already know and trust, revisit your archives, revisit your past, revisit your parents, go to check on them, start again the conversation of moving, of selling property, or of buying something. Maybe this time, if it's not the first time, really, if it's not new idea, you will convince your spouse or your parents or your children about this move. Check where is your a point called IC. If it's between the 5th and the 15th degree of Taurus, then Mercury will be 3 times passing over your IC, which I think is significant, especially if your IC is precisely on 15 degrees, so you will feel it the most now, 21st of April. If it's around the 5 degrees of Taurus, you will feel it more around the 14th of May, okay? But now 21st of April seems so intense, mentally intense, physically, emotionally, because Mercury, not only that it's as if like stopped on the sky and ready to go backwards, but also it conjuncts Uranus, the planet of impatience, impatientness, when you want to do something, to act something abruptly, leave people, leave home, go on your own account, rebel against some rules from the past, especially some traditions. But it can be a bit too much, really. And remember my advice about the eclipse season to be rather more observing than proactively and impulsively, especially doing something. So you can write down again therapeutic letters, you can write poetry, you can keep in mind what you want to change in your home, place of living, family, but just maybe while Mercury will be then retrograde, reevaluate, rethink, research, go deep. Maybe you'll go deep into your childhood memories, emotional needs. You might consult with a therapist. You might do regression, past life regression, this constellation sessions, to see the roles within you and power dynamics within your family. Yeah, and the 20th, 21st, 22nd even of April, let's us all be careful on the road while driving, while writing emails, using technology, because there might be some unexpected events and news. Of course, also you might have some brilliant ideas, brilliant insights. Uranus is the direct link to the planets, to the universe, is the planet of the space, of the universe, of astrology as well, astronomy, aviation. So yeah, some insights there might be, definitely. Write them down, remember them, and let them unfold in the future, in the next 6 months, and mostly after the 14th of May. You can research the market for housing, for cars, vehicles, but not necessarily buying it now while Mercury is retrograde. You can sell though. You can sell, and you can prepare, gather documents, discuss, rediscuss again with your family members some important matters, of course. Yeah, Mercury overall is in the shade of retrogradation from the 7th of April, when it enters for the first time into the 5 degrees of Taurus, and at the end it leaves the same trial. He will be going back and forward on the 31st of May. So you see, after the 31st of May, there is this kind of the new territory, the completely new ideas about home, property, and family. Oh yeah, by the way, Uranus is your modern ruler, Aquarius. So maybe on the 21st, you will get some important news, revelation, memory even, piece of document, something that will be handy in the future for you. And to make your own decision of possibly going separation, maybe divorce, or moving out of your home nest, for instance. It might be, of course, because you change job, career, you go to study somewhere abroad, and so on. So, dear Aquarius, I wish you a wonderful, interesting, exciting April with a lot of positive news, changes, and support by your loved ones. Take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Pisces. Rising sign, Sun, and Moon Pisces. I'm Michaela, and this is your astrological forecast for the upcoming April. I took the most important, in my opinion, astrological events, and we will discuss them from your point of view. In my general video forecasts here on this channel, I use the whole sign system, while specifically working with each of you as a private client on astrological consultations, I refer to the Placidus system. Okay, so we start the month on the 3rd of April, when Mercury, the planet of communication, planning, small business, vehicles, technology, moves into Taurus. For you, this is your 3rd house. In the meta-astrological wheel, Gemini is the 3rd sign, and so Mercury is the ruler of the 3rd house. So here the topics are matching, really. It's like a double whammy. Seems like the beginning of the month will be very productive regarding studies, travels, doing something important with your vehicle, whether choosing, buying, selling, or repairing. There might be a lot of social events, activities, meeting people, negotiations, communications. Great for people who have small business, if you're selling something, trading, if you have websites, blogs, you are posting or writing something. Fantastic. Mercury here is, stimulating your area of the same topics. But I must warn you that the 3rd of April itself is a bit more intense day, because on this day Mercury makes a square to Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto is a very secretive planet. It is about intense power and emotions. So on this day, either some topics will be revealed, some secrets come out. Besides this, Pluto, according to the whole sign system, is currently in your 12th house of your subconscious, of your blind spot, of your inner world. So here maybe you'll decide to share it, to write about it, to record a video about it. At the very least, share it maybe with your therapist, with your, priest, with a spiritual guru or leader or teacher with whom you work. Or you might just write a therapeutic letter expressing your pain, your fears, put all this emotional baggage out of yourself into the piece of paper, and then you can read it, you can cut it, you can safely burn it. Don't send it to the people to whom it corresponds, but just to feel this relief of externalizing this internal emotions through the speech or writing, or doing some intense craft with your hands. If you might feel around the third a bit more anxious, because Pluto is very subconscious and psychological planet, and in the 12th house, really it can bring up to the surface some thoughts, memories, ideas that you never realized that you have them, and that you push them, under the rug, in order to protect your psyche, of course. At the same time, please be careful on the road, especially long distance travels, but also while driving and, just in the city as well, there might be tension. Take your time, prepare your documents. In every aspect in astrology can be used in some positive manner. That's why we have these forecasts, right? For warned, forearmed, and calmed down. So basically, even a square with Pluto, unless you keep secrets, which, by the way, Pluto himself, because he's the planet of taboo topics, shame, fears, so he might create secrets, but at the same time, then he himself reveals them in order to make you transparent, clean, liberated again, empowered, because fears and secrets just drain and take your power away from you. So in this case, some information might leak, or at the very least, you might become aware consciously with your mind about something, some process going on subconsciously, process that was sabotaging you from within, your inner enemy, yourself, Pisces. So you are the sign that rules classically the 12th house of dreams, of visions, of this blurring between the worlds, merging between the spaces and worlds. So here you might get some powerful insights, but also if you do some business, Pluto can bring big audience, big deals, lucrative deals. It might be with people who are very powerful, so be careful not to kind of sell your soul to the devil, in the sense that signing some contract and then be kind of sorry about it because you fell under the influence of someone powerful. But you might make some big business deals with someone from abroad, from distant lands, doing something online, trading, for example, online. And kind of clear your mind, and direct your mind from the state of shaming, fear, feeling sorry and pity, into the state of positive thinking, self-control, responsibility about yourself, the law of attraction. Anything depends on me, I can do it. It's my life, so it's in my own hands. So something on this line, self-empowering through your thoughts. Then on the 6th of April, we have a full moon at 16 degrees of Libra, which is your 8th house. Look at that. It is a scorpionic, a plutonic house. Full moon, it's clarity, illumination, ending. And 8th house can talk about deep, powerful internal processes of transformation through again, through digging in the kind of the dark night of the soul, maybe you have been passing, or digging into your subconscious, working with a psychologist, regressionist, doing some therapy, doing constellations sessions, about the role of your family and so on, fighting your compulsive behavior, addictions, fears, traumas, phobias. And the full moon here either can illuminate where is the hidden skeleton, what is rotting, what is not right, what you must, like a surgeon, eliminate from your life, physically or emotionally and subconsciously or mentally. Or also this full moon can be the end of such maybe painful, dramatic process. I will give you a hint about the beginning of possible process in this sense, because full moons in the same sign usually are related to the new moons in this sign, the last two new moons, 6 months ago and 1 year and a half ago, when we maybe have started something that now we see the results, we're reaping the rewards. Even in the 8th house, it can be something very positive, like, quitting an addiction, quitting a bad habit, forgiving yourself or someone else. So think about back to the 6th of October 2021 and or 25th of September 2022. New moons in Libra. If you keep a new moon diary, open those pages then. Check the list of your wishes, dreams, goals. Maybe it's time to scratch, as some have manifested already. I hope it's the case and you're happy with it. Some you put enough efforts to bring them into reality, so congratulations and well done. And others, maybe you have to do some course correction or reevaluate what actions you must improve in order to gain them in the future. And some goals maybe are already irrelevant because you were writing them from a different place in your life, different stage. You were different back then. We constantly evolve and develop, right? So especially with new and full moons in 8th house of transformation. So you might now think back in time and be like, geez, I was completely different person back then. And now I don't need this anymore. I overcame this. I'm stronger now and more, empowered and so on. By the way, 8th house can also talk about processes of death and rebirth. More specifically, it is sometimes about operations or, surgeries, or about giving birth as well. So maybe for some of you, this is the process of becoming a parent, healing, definitely healing, liberation, catharsis, experiencing some catharsis. Passive income. Maybe all this 6 months you were asking the banks for some loan for mortgage, or you were trying to rent your inherited property, and now finally success, you get payback, return from your investments. Could be as well seeing more clearly what's going on with your business. If you're the astrologer, if you're the consultant, if you're the financial advisor, if you're the psychologist and the therapist, then this is very much linked as well to some popularity and recognition of your career as well. On the same day, 6th of April, Mercury conjuncts the karmic lunar node, because there are two of them, the North Node, the point on the sky that talks about progress, quantum leaps in the future, new ideas, new messages, new people in your life. It happens in the 3rd house. Remember, here is Mercury. So, wow, indeed, there might be some new contract, document, business idea. Now you apply your new skills, you change your way of thinking. And one more thing, this full moon happening in Libra opposes, so the moon is in Libra, the sun is in the opposite sign of Aries, and the sun is right next to Jupiter, the big benefic. So this full moon is lucky. There will be really freedom, there will be liberation, popularity, success. In your 2nd house, big income, big salary, pay rise, or opening your own enterprise. Striking some really, really big deal with maybe foreigners, with your foreign investor, or you might get some sponsorship by a university, a scholarship, for example. And also there in the second house, opposite this full moon, is Chiron. Chiron, the wounded healer. On a more psychological level here, you probably are thinking about first of all, your values in the world. Basically, what do you value the most? Maybe you need to set priorities. Is it number one for you, your career? Is it number one, your maybe scientific research? Is it number one, your family, your home, your country, or the desire to be free and to travel the world, right? So this is important here with Chiron in the second house, and also the feeling of self-worth, of self-love, of valuing your own body, soul, mind, skills, experience, knowledge. Usually we talk about second house as way of income and investing money, but also it's our resources. What is your bigger resource? Is it your time? Is it your 5 languages that you speak? Is it your mathematical skills? Is it that you are a perfect mommy and you raised 3 kids, right? So as well, skills, resources, something to be proud of, and love yourself. The way that later you can expect also your colleagues, employees to value you as well as a professionalist and earn money for, with the confidence. So second house here, you have to work on healthy, not egotistical, but healthy confidence and trust in yourself. Last but not least, this full moon opens the so-called spring eclipse season or corridor. It will last for 1 month and a half, from 6th of April till the 19th of May. This includes 2 eclipses, one in April, one in May, 2 weeks before the first one, 2 weeks in between the eclipses, and 2 weeks after the second eclipse. I like to talk a bit about this because the eclipse seasons, look, they're not something rare and scary. We have eclipses every single year. Yeah, there's sometimes 3, sometimes there's 7, and 4 eclipses like this year, it's pretty normal. It's okay. Not every person feels equally strongly every single eclipse in our lives. We feel stronger the ones which are triggering somehow our natal chart, which of course is what you discuss on private consultations with an astrologer. And I think it's also meant to be. For me, our natal charts are literally the contract of the soul about its incarnation here in this body, in this family, in this society, in this country, and in this time period, even, if you will, because the soul wanted to live something through you, through your ego experiences in the world, through your decisions, through your reactions, through your desires, through your emotions and passions, through your fears, and so on. And here comes this free will part. First of all, it is a huge free will for the soul to choose, the school of life to pass in every incarnation. That's why I think it's so important, precisely the day, the year, the hour, the minute in which you are born, because it exactly gives us astrologers the material to interpret about, how the stars were combined, where they are in your natal chart, because it gives us the contract and what you can kind of expect from circumstances and lessons in your life, karmic experiences. But then you do have the free will to choose one way or another. Maybe you can deviate a little bit more, take a detour. And exactly during eclipses is the time when, I hope softly and gently, destiny takes things in her own hands and is like, okay, now you have to go back to your initial route, okay? Don't try to escape these lessons. So this is why within these eclipse seasons, I think the energy is very unstable. It's karmic, it's the fate, it's the destiny. Again, unstable, it seems to us. But at the end of the day, karma is actually something I think very, very logical, because it shows the causes and the effects. The causes of something we have done before in the past, we maybe don't remember. We take this treat, we said this word, and then, you know, like a snowflake that turns into a snowball, eventually it comes in some shape or form back to us, you know. So it's also probably it's called the butterfly effect too. You see how in my eclectic vision, everything is mixed and has its own place to be. The free will, the destiny, the karma, the soul's desires, and the path and lessons of the soul to learn here. Like when we go to school, right? You know, you will be in the first grade, then second grade, you will learn mathematics, chemistry, language, literature. It's clear, right? It is the path. But then you might choose to take extra curriculum, more of the mathematics, because you discover you're good at that. You might decide to skip several literature classes, but then you'll have a low grade, right? So you won't go to the journalistic faculty to study journalism. So it's a mix of free will and destiny. But around eclipses, let the destiny do its job. I advise us all to take a bit more of this kind of yin, feminine stance of energy, in a sense of being more receptive, more listening, more attuned to what's going on, more aware. That's why we do these forecasts, right? Forewarned, forearmed. And so things might happen that are out of our control, and we have to be like accepting and grateful for them. It means that it was meant to be this way. Your company is bankrupting, or landlord says you have to move out. Okay, so then you'll find a new flat where maybe you will be allowed this time to have pets in your flat, right? So anything that happens, it's really for some benefit for you. Events might happen around the eclipses, as you see, like 2 weeks before the first eclipse, in between, even maybe 2 weeks after the second eclipse. Or why do I recommend to be more listening and observing, grounded, you know? Because maybe there will be some signals. Maybe you meet someone accidentally, or there is some news or idea or offer online about requalification or courses, or you're like, oh, I never been interested into this country. Let me check out this touristic video about Tunisia or something, yeah? And then 3 months later, you meet someone from Tunisia. 6 months later, they offer you a job there or something like this. You know, I also give a bit more like bright cases or extreme cases. But the fact is that indeed, things maybe are just planted, seeded around eclipses. And then 6 months later, they might manifest and unfold, really. I will come now to this first eclipse of the year, but let me first tell you that on the 11th of April, Venus moves into Gemini, which is your 4th house, and it's great position. Venus is the planet of love, of harmony, peace, peaceful negotiations, compromises, and consensuses. And in the 4th house, you will find now this common tongue, common language with your parents, with the people with whom you live. You might be involved in family business or dealing and working with a real estate property, accommodation, hotels, working with children, nurseries, or with elderly people, taking care of someone, cooking. This all will bring you pleasure, or possibly for some of you better income in while Venus is passing through here. You might meet some lovely friends in your city of origin, or even maybe through some chats. These people can be from your country of origin. Maybe there will be love with someone that your mom represented you both, you know, or your dad said, hey, meet the son of my colleague from work, yeah, something like this. Okay. Maybe you would like to beautify your home, repair something, buy some new beautiful furniture, vase, you know, introduce more colors, more flowers at home, relocate to some more beautiful place. Why not? Maybe you allow yourself emotionally to to feel more at peace with yourself, more happy. Fourth house is when we are alone or with very close people, trusted people, how we are, who we are. And here with Venus, it will be a pleasure to be on your own, to dive in deep into your emotions, to watch movies you like, to eat what you like, and to basically pamper yourself like a parent pampers a beloved child. So then on the 20th of April comes this first eclipse of the year. It's a solar eclipse, which means it's a very powerful new moon. It's a double whammy of new stuff coming because it's an eclipse since the luminaries are located next to the one of the nodes of the moon. In this case, the north node. Here is the double whammy because you remember, as we discussed already, the north node talks about new people, new beginning, new opportunities, new challenges, new ideas. Also the possibility to be a bit more tricky and to come up with some a little bit street smart ideas and rush into new reality. Basically, North Node can catapult you into your destiny and future. So 29th degree of Aries is this eclipse at. According to the whole sign system, it is your second house. So some new work, or at the very least, new team, new work project, new activity, new skills maybe you can now apply at your work, something more technologically advanced. The North Node talks about some artificial things, artificial intelligence, everything modernistic, high-tech. Younger people, maybe you will be working with a team of IT specialists, virtual reality or something like this, or at least modernizing. Try to modernize your work because you also might increase your competences and your salary as well. You might introduce new meaning in your life, like new values. So second house is our priorities, our resources, which can be food as well, our personal time. Also, maybe you will start, like values in a sense. Do I value first my family and then my work? Or is it first my career and professional development and status? And then on the second place come the traveling and holidays. On the third place is having a pet, or vice versa, yeah, you might change your way of taking care of your body, your diet. It's time to maybe do some spring cleaning of your clothes, of your furniture, of old belongings, something you were piling and stacking. Now it's time to let some space, maybe donate some things or throw out some things. Certainly there can be growth financially because this eclipse conjuncts Jupiter. So that's good news for, opening your own business, starting some international projects. Jupiter brings luck, popularity, big audience, growth, expansion, help from abroad, help from legal institutions. And whatever you're starting now, whether it's a work project, a way to earn money, or you start planning some big purchase, let's say of a vehicle, of a home, where to invest your money, maybe you're planning now. With Jupiter, it's going to be successful, I think, even if it's a bit risky. But here it's good to have a cool head, to be prepared to maybe put some effort into your work. Maybe you are really now upgraded at work to a higher position and there are more responsibilities, more job. You have to be respected now. You have to show your skills, but with the due effort, dedication, responsibilities, you will achieve something really solid, tangible, sustainable, long-lasting, because this eclipse makes a sextile, a positive aspect, to Saturn, the planet of longevity and of high social positions, being like the boss, or the very least the manager, the CEO, the organizer, and so on. You can become really an expert in something at work and very mature regarding your self-esteem. because it's going to be based on some product. You know, you can always tell, okay, look at this, I'm creating these things, or I'm managing a team of 10 people. I mean, I can totally show you a great CV and be sure that I deserve such and such salary. So some like sustainable and really based on something, self-esteem, I would say. At the same time, there is also intensity with this eclipse, of course, because it squares Pluto in your 12th house. So once again, just like at the beginning of the month, we say here that you must clean your internal emotional mess, baggage, like somehow at least accept that there are some things maybe that prevent you from asking for increase of a salary or higher position. Maybe you're afraid of responsibility, or there is constant imposter syndrome, like you're not sure, are you good enough, and so on. Working with your values coming from your family, what your parents taught you about money, about business, about work, about self-esteem, about self-love. Some of us come from some countries and generations where it was shameful to praise yourself. It was shameful to kind of sell yourself, you know, and nowadays this is most of the people live in some capitalistic business society where you have to promote yourself, kind of respect your efforts, resources, knowledge, time, skills, experience, yeah. And here with Pluto in the 12th, it is about digging deep within yourself and see where the fear comes from, the insecurity, the shame, lack of trust, for example, and heal it. At the end of the day, Pluto in your 12th house wants you to heal. It has 20 years, really, this transit, so don't worry. Check my yearly forecast videos for you. It's called Pisces 2023. I think it's like nearly 2 hours long video where I discuss the Pluto transit in Aquarius, Saturn in your sign, Pisces. So you are on a very specific years now of growth, liberation, empowerment, and maturation. Yeah, so very interesting. And the eclipses as well coming here. Yep, so second house, you already know, new work possibilities and option to work more on your value system and self-esteem. Maybe you will be working with Pluto, some business from abroad, from overseas, whether online, from home, or moving there. Then a couple of hours later, the same day, the sun moves into Taurus, joining the crowd of planets and energies there in your third house of contracts, negotiations, learning, languages, courses, communication, and social activity with people. And wherever the sun goes, there is, of course, naturally our attention. There we can shine and feel pleasure as well. The next day, 21st of April, Mercury stations to go retrograde. You see, these days, 20th, 21st, 22nd even, will be quite intense. The eclipse happens. Mercury stations, and Mercury is the common sense, is the verbal skills, the emails, the posts, the vehicles, infrastructure. When Mercury stations, it means it's like a dizzy a bit, the planet, you know, like hangover, and doesn't feel very well, not thinking maybe too clearly. At the same time, it conjuncts on the 21st Uranus. And Uranus wants change immediately, everything now, otherwise I will, you know, make a revolution. So mind your desire to express yourself. I mean, usually it's a good thing, of course, but here it's too much of a tension, too much of a chaos, too much of a rush and hastiness and sharpness. People can offend each other without actually wanting it, but yeah, there can be verbal explosions. Be careful on the road, drive safely, not too quickly. around these days, it's good to be in the nature, ground yourself through some practices like breathing practices, stretching, taking care of your body and your mind, drink magnesium, eat some good food, allow yourself time to relax, be careful with technology. Especially in the third house, it's all these mobile phones, laptops, tablets, gadgets, cameras, microphones, yes, everything that it's like modern technology. Emails, as I said, think twice before sending some email, because verbally and mentally we would like to jump into something new, cut ties, burn bridges, finally say something we wanted for a long time. But at the same time, remember that Mercury goes retrograde until the 14th of May. So it's going to be more time to rethink, reevaluate, repair. Yeah, here is the time to repair your vehicle, choose the market if you want to buy a new one. You can sell your old one, but it's not the time to buy new vehicle, sign contracts. Yeah, from the 21st of April till the 14th of May. You can renegotiate, you can prepare, you can go to interviews, listen, think, evaluate, hesitate. You have the time to hesitate. You can go back to some old unfinished course, like to finally get your driving license or learn the language, something you stopped, interrupted, or quit some time ago. Yeah, now you have the second chance to finish it, to take the degree, go to an exam, third house is about traveling. You can travel to some place you've been already. You can meet with former colleagues, classmates, neighbors, go back to visit your siblings or family members, cousins, reestablish communication with them if you have lost it. But yeah, around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, there might be misunderstandings, so be patient. All of us should be patient with posts, with deliveries, with emails, videos, and so on. On the other hand, of course, you might receive some very insightful news, information, proposition. You might meet someone very unusual, eccentric, original, crazy, genius, someone skilled with cryptocurrency, IT specialist. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Keep in mind those ideas, write them down. Then while Mercury is retrograde, you can rethink them. You can reread the book, inspirational book that can help you to heal, can help you to eventually, to unstuck from the past and from the old patterns and family programs, in a sense. Maybe you want to establish your own values and life overall. But the real time for action will be at the very least after the 14th of May. And then Mercury will be finally in a new territory even after the 31st of May. So dear Pisces, this is how April looks like for you. I wish you a wonderful, passionate, interesting, and positive month. Take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.